I kind of want to talk to you about your hilarious like parenting videos on Instagram, your reels. What kind of inspired you guys to start? I know you kind of said with the pandemic. I know a lot of people jumped on
Mhm.
TikTok and reels during the pandemic. So for you guys, what kind of directed the angle you kind of went in with your videos? Because I just think they're super relatable, but they're also funny that a lot of people can find some I don't know, find humor in and also find like, all right, these are my people.
Well, so much of parenting is, I mean, you gotta laugh at it so you don't cry, and I think especially when it gets into different ways, because a lot of our videos center on, different parenting choices that people might make, and we often feature maybe a judgmental parent couple, right? And we really try to use hyperbole to exaggerate how silly they sound when they're being judgmental, just to show that, like, you're going to choose to do one thing for your family. I'm going to choose to do something totally different. And this is how stupid it sounds if we start sitting here and yammering on and bickering and judging each other about our decisions. You get a lot of that online. You get a lot of that in mommy groups. People are more than happy to tell you that they think you're doing it wrong, you're doing a bad job, or that they're doing better than you. And it's stupid, it's narcissistic, and it doesn't get us anywhere as a collective. And mothers are, after the second you give birth to the baby and you're out of that hospital, mothers have no support. And whether it's in their community, it can be very hard. In their own friend group, sometimes they might feel isolated if they're the only one that have kids. And it's just by the general government, especially, I mean, I look at the states and like I weep, you guys. The government has such little respect for new parents. And it does nothing but hurt us as a collective when we sit there and judge each other and put each other down. So through our videos, we really just want to shine a light on that. And like we make fun of ourselves sometimes. People, will make a video and people they love to get mad at us in the comments because they think that we're being judgmental.
Right.
But like, no, like that's what we do. We're making fun of what we do ourselves, but from a standpoint where we're really just trying to poke fun at the judgy parents. Because again, we have to hold each other up. We have to rise together in order to get more respect from our governments, get more time off work, get paid mat leave. Where I live in my city, I have free access to lactation consultants, and they'll come to your house for free, paid for by my city. That's amazing.
Hmm.
Not many cities have that. And that depresses me because if I didn't have that free access, I don't know how my breastfeeding journey would have gone with my first because it was going terribly. I was bleeding through my nipples and curling my toes in pain, crying every single time she would latch. And I was really having a hard time with it and I wanted to quit. But I had the lactation consultant come over and it was a great experience and it truly helped me. So I think things like that help so much and we need to do it together. I mean, you don't get medals in motherhood for suffering more than the next person. You don't get medals in motherhood for, you know, making all the right choices by somebody's guidebook. And it's it's just, you shun the community when you do that. And I think we've all been there as moms. We've all been in a place where we've thought, "Oh, like that's a weird decision they're making. I'm doing it better than them." And for me, when that happens, if it even comes in my mind for a flicker, I just try to like expel it the second I can because it's bullshit and it does nothing for me as a person. It does nothing for the mother who I'm, judging. And I'm getting a lot better at not having those thoughts really even come in my mind. But before I had kids, I was super judgmental about how to parent before I even became pregnant. So,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's so interesting because yeah, we have a Facebook group here too, and we that's like one of our biggest things is we're gonna like we moderate the out of it because when it started, I mean, people would just go off about things, and we're like,
yeah.
we're not gonna allow that here because who are you to judge someone else's like family? I mean, I feel like when it all
Mhm.
comes down to it, we always want the best for ourselves and our family, and to just peeking through the windows of someone else and be like, oh, you're doing it wrong. It's like, we don't know everyone's full story, So
Exactly.
mm,
Exactly, and more than that even, it's just like, look how often things change in parenthood. I was talking to some women today, and they're a little bit older than me, and their kids are in high school, whereas my kids are 3.5 and 1.5. And they were saying how, like, their kids are allergic to everything. And they were wondering if it's because at that time the doctors were saying, oh, well, wait until they're 2 to give them peanuts and let them try allergens and things like that. Whereas, now we're getting told to give your kids allergens 6 months. And it's like things change so frequently. And it's just because we're learning all the time, right? We're learning, and a little bit is trial and error. And if one person was told one thing, I mean, you can't hold anything like that against them. And then again, like you said, you don't know the full picture. You don't know that that one mother needed to sleep train because she was losing it and suffering from PPD, or just delirious from the lack of sleep, and it was the best thing for her family, for her. Because you can't take care of your kids successfully if you are not taking care of yourself. And that's the bottom line. You have to be the best version of yourself, or at least the happiest or nearing that, to bring that to your children and to your family, right? So I think moms often forget about themselves and don't take care of themselves. And then in that process, I think they become unhappy and they become more willing to lash out at other parents and judgmental and things like that. And I think that is so hurtful. So we want to bring laughs into parenthood because so much of it is hilarious, or is, like I said, so exhausting and tear inducing that you may as well laugh, because if you don't, then we're all kind of in this together in this really beautiful, tiring, crazy trip of an experience.
yeah, absolutely. And I think you formed this awesome community where you can, yeah, like laugh about and relate on different topics. And I think that's the power of social media and that community. I mean, obviously there's a lot of negatives, like you said, there's the trolls and there's people out there that'll find something
Yeah.
negative no matter what. But there's that positive aspect too, where people are able to connect and relate to one another. So I think that's awesome what you guys do.